This is a piece of an old lathe I scrapped a while ago. Yeah, I hear you think. I know, it's very sad. Not all old machines can survive. Sometimes they've been abused too much and you just got to pull the trigger. It's a hard world we live in, so don't start whining. Anyway, this bar used to brace the legs and support the motor on an old bench lathe. And now I can see a Morse taper 4 dual chuck arbor in here for my latest flea market find. A new old stock dual chuck made by Rohm that goes up to 60mm. It's actually for a hammer action drill. And it has this weird Allen head screw in here. No idea what that's for. It's never been used, so hopefully it will run nice and true. So let's make an arbor for it that will fit the headstock of my Chinese lathe. Oops. Yeah, that's good enough. The end here is pretty rough and at a slight angle, and with this small chuck and no steady rest, I think things are probably going to move when center drilling. So to improve my chances, I'm going to grind this down a bit. It might do nothing, but maybe, just maybe it helps. You don't know till you try. Yep, I think it moved. If it moved, it wasn't a lot. Alright, I'll do the other side now. I switched to a bigger center drill, but this looks like it might be cast iron, and I'm not sure if it's a good idea to make a arbor out of cast iron. I just center drilled the other side, and there are some sort of chips coming off the center drill. It's not all that powdery stuff that's typical for cast iron, so maybe this is cast steel, I don't know. I'm going to turn down this side to about 21 millimeters, and that's pretty close to the small end of a MT4 taper. It should also tell me if I want to continue with this material. Definitely not cast iron, but pretty grey and rough. Turns out that 21 millimeters is a lot smaller than the small end of a MT4 arbor, but it shouldn't matter. This surface here is only for the steady rest on the Chinese lathe when I drill and tap this end for the boring bar. No idea what kind of material this is, but it's probably going to be tough to make this into a nice arbor. But I'm willing to waste my time, since I might actually learn a few things. I switched out the chuck jaws because these can drive the lathe dog, and now I'm going to true up the pointy bit. Very nice. I got this new Banggood dead center that has a carbide tip, and that's a good thing because I tend to drop these on its pointy bit, and maybe this one can survive the impact on a concrete floor, but I'm not going to test it. I actually wanted a half dead center with a piece missing on one side, like the one Mr. Pete 222 showed in one of his more recent videos, but unfortunately those were sold out. Anyway, this one is cheaper, and I'll try to modify it with my angle grinder. If it is actually carbide tipped, it might take a while, but I don't see a dividing line between the carbide and the tool steel or whatever they used. By the way, a half dead center isn't half alive, but it might be undead. Well, that definitely isn't carbide. I got scammed, but it does make the grinding job a little easier. I'm done grinding. I used the Dremel to make this a bit concave, to make some more room for the tool bit, and I made sure that these edges here aren't sharp, because I don't want this thing to start drilling. I ground up a tool that will fit between the dead center and the workpiece. I don't think it's high-speed steel. It was grinding too easy, and the point burned up a few times. But it's sharp, and the workpiece isn't that hard, so I think it will do fine. The black stuff is oil with some MOS 2 additive, and that's for lubricating the pointy bit. Alright, here we go. Not too bad. I'm liking my new undead center. I referenced the topside angle against this commercially made arbor, and I think I got it set pretty good. So next I'm going to start cutting the taper. Well, I think I'm ready to start cutting this taper. So let's do this. Rough, but it could be worse, I guess. Well, I'm going to take a few more roughing passes, and then I will switch to a high-speed steel tool bit with a nice radius. I'm stopping for a while because I feel the bearings warming up. Well, the front bearing at least. And that's probably because the workpiece is expanding because of the heat. It isn't turning as smoothly as it is supposed to do. So I'll let it cool down and then I'll continue. I just changed the insert, and that made a huge difference. This side has been cut with the new insert, this one with the old. It still isn't perfect, but it's a lot better. I thought the insert was still okay, but I obviously was wrong. Alright, I'll finish up this cut and then I'll try a high-speed steel tool bit. I found a piece of high-speed steel with a nice big radius and some positive rake. Someone spent a lot of time grinding this up. It's a bit short for the tool rest clamp, but I think I can make it work. I'm going to take a very light cut because the small end here is basically on size, and I don't want to take too much off. That looks promising. Oh yeah, that's nice. Looks like I won't be needing the shear tool. Let's get this finished. Well, that looks nice and shiny, but it is actually far from perfect. I can feel a lot of imperfections. So we'll now run this hard Arkansas stone over here while the lathe is spinning, of course, and hopefully I can blend it all together in a smooth surface. It already feels a little better, and you can see the high spots are brightening up. I'm done stoning for now. It isn't perfect, but it's a lot better. I think the surface irregularities are the result of these sloppy slides. There's just too much play in there. Unfortunately, I cannot tighten up the gips any further, because then it gets near impossible at this end to move the slide. Now I'm going to take a bit off in the middle of the arbor, just like this commercial made arbor. I think with that bit gone, it will be easier to fit these on the Chinese lathe. That should do it. I'm reasonably happy with the look and feel, so let's try it out on the Chinese lathe. That feels nice and clean. Let's see if I did a good job, or if this is going to be a huge disappointment. I expected it to go deeper. It's already stuck. I can't break it loose. That's a positive sign. I guess it doesn't matter that it doesn't sit any deeper, because the taper inside the spindle isn't the full length of a MT4 arbor. Let's take it out and paint it up. I finger painted some oil on the arbor. Let's put it back in. I don't have a spindle lock. That's too bad. There it goes. I'll hold it by hand. Now we take it out again. Oh, that's not really good. So here's the result of the paint job. Looks like there's hard contact over here, and that's probably the start of the spindle taper. There's contact here, and also probably over here. There seemed to be some contact here, and hardly any contact over here. This is how deep the taper sits, so there won't be any contact over here nor here. I will try and stone off these high spots here, here and here, and then I will fit it again. I think this 1000 grit diamond hone should knock down those high spots easily. Works a lot better than a file. It is a bit rougher now, especially on this side, because I didn't use the diamond hone on this end. Well, I'll run a stone over here, and then I will test fit again. Here's the result of the second paint job. I stuck it in the spindle, pressed it in as deep as it would go, and then I turned it one revolution. This high spot and this high spot, they're gone, but what's strange is there is contact over here, but not all the way around, and I'm not sure if that is in the spindle or in this arbor. Anyway, I will try to work this down a bit and do another test fitting. It looks like the taper is a bit off because I only have contact on this side here. This end isn't touching at all. So I guess this will take a while to get this corrected. I don't know, this must be paint job number 5. And I got good contact over here. But absolutely no contact over here. So I guess I will have to work it a little longer with the emery cloth. If I was keeping track of time, this would be one pricey arbor. I've got a bit of a scratch on the workpiece, and that's the result of a piece of swarf being left inside the spindle nose after cleaning off the paint. It must have been caught by my cloth, and I failed to check the internal taper by running my finger through it. I guess that's the result of trying to cut corners. It is kind of stupid because there's now also a nasty scratch and burr inside the spindle nose. Well, I guess I will continue this another day because I don't feel like screwing up any further. Well, I finally managed to get some decent contact in both front and the rear. Front a bit better than the rear, but I think it should be good enough because I'm sick of polishing this thing, and I'd rather polish something else for a change. Great. I actually forgot to tighten up the tool bit. How stupid is that? Can't go any further. The carriage is up against the headstock. I'll probably shorten this before I'll fit the drill chuck, because it's sticking out too much. Actually, if I leave it, this will fit right through the 3-jaw chuck. Alright, now I'm going to take it out of the spindle and reseat it in a different position and check for run out, see if I did a good job. Man, that's such a disappointment. Something went wrong here. I took another cut, but it's not getting any better. which basically sucks. So I'm going to put a mark on the arbor, which I'll line up with the mark on the spindle here every time I use this arbor, and that should take care of most of the run out. And it's only a drill chuck, so I think it will be acceptable. I also did a few tests with this commercial made arbor, and I also get between 1 and 2 hundredths of a millimeter run out at different positions in the spindle. So the Morse taper inside the spindle might be slightly off, or more likely I somehow screwed up. Anyway, this is where I stop. I have enough footage for a 20 plus minutes video, and I'll continue this project in my next film. Let's see how well this commercial made arbor fits inside the spindle. Great. Another disappointment.